it's absurd that these two things are seen as two separated stuff while they complement each other. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Pursuit of Strength podcast. My name is Stanislav, and today's episode will be about strength versus technique in a fight. Who would win from between a very big but unexperienced person and a highly skilled one, but very little and not that big and strong? Well, this is a wide and very redundant argument on the internet and um, in the fighting scene, but I want to delve more deeper into this question, and I think honestly that is very stupid debate, and I will explain why. First of all, to make the discussion simple, I will take grappling as a reference and not MMA, not specifically, um, let's say, street fighting, as I would call it, so fighting with no rules, in order to make it more simple. And also because I am a judoka, I have experience in more grappling domain and less in other domains. So I will talk about what I currently know and what my experience currently is. I First of all, I want to make some clarification about what I mean by strength and what I mean about technique, because strength and technique are very broad terms that doesn't mean actually anything. So I want to delve deep into this shit. When we talk about muscles or strength, who win between muscles and technique? That doesn't mean shit. By muscles and strength, I want to refer about it as general maximal strength, which a concept that is very clear. So, maximal general strength is how much you bench, how much you bench press, how much you can deadlift, how much you can squat and row, or how much you can pull up. Okay, this is general raw strength. This is not specific. It's very general, very basic movements. And technique is more difficult to define. Why? Because technique is a term that comprehends a lot of different skills that a skilled athlete should possess. Uh, Technique comprehends the automation of the movement, so how much you have a conscious effort into performing your technique. If you're very skilled, you have less conscious effort because you have learned to do this technique with a very your body is basically already programmed. You've done this shit so many times that you don't even need to think about how to perform it. You just do it. It's like driving. Okay, when you first start driving, you have to think, oh, I should put my hands here, I should press the accelerator very lightly because the machine will start. And then after a year or two of practice, you will just be able to drive your machine, grab your phone, send some messages, send a dick pic, okay, everything at the same time, because there is less conscious effort about it. The same is with technique during grappling or during fighting. The more the technique is automated, the less you should consciously focus on what you're doing. Then there is not only automation, because you can have a very nice automation of the technique, but there is also cognitive scanning, okay, which is the ability to understand what the situation is, and by your different pool of techniques that you know, which one is the best for the context of what is happening right now. Okay? That's also applied to what technique is and effectiveness of the movement, which is related to automation. And efficiency of the movement is how much energy you expend while doing this technique. So, more the technique is automated, the less energy is dispersed, is wasted in execution. Sorry. In the With this definition, we can find an interesting relationship between. Oh, sorry, I have to give another another specification. To our conversation, technique will be defined as the ability to use your body in the most efficient way, to use the body with the best leverages in order to perform a technique. A technique could be a takedown or a submission or a hairikata. If you are familiar with judo, hairikata is basically how you arrive to the submission in a ground game. And this, if you watch strength and technique by physics, we can define the success of a technique by the formula of momentum. Momentum is defined as force multiplied per leverage. Okay, if you multiply force by the leverage, you will gain momentum. The greater the force and the greater the leverage, the greater is momentum. So the momentum is the efficiency of the technique. The force could be is strength. The more stronger you are, the more is likely that the technique will be efficient. And the more leverage you are, the more you're proficient with your technique, the more successful the technique will be. Okay? I have you in this. So, in this case, we can see that there is kinda relationships between strength and technique, because these are not two separated things. Okay, they are actually complement each other. Okay, the more stronger you are, because technique, I also hear this thing where they say that you should not muscle up the submission in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu context, or in the wrestling, or also in judo. Oh, don't use your strength, don't use your muscles, use the technique. Motherfucker, you have to move your body in order to perform the technique. And how you move your body? You move it with your fucking muscles, alright? You move with your fucking muscles. So it's absurd that these two things are seen as two separated stuff, while they complement each other. And to come back to so that's why I think this argument is silly, because these are not two different things, but they feed one another. Okay, so give me 1 second, I'll grab a piece of paper and I will explain what I mean. So there are people who say that strength doesn't matter in a fight, but actually, if you look at our equation, so efficacy of the technique, I can put it focused, alright. Efficacy, hope it writes, efficacy equals strength per technique. We see that if someone is very strong, let's say strength 10, but he doesn't know shit, so his strength is 0. Let's say someone who is really a power lifter, who is kind of strong, but doesn't know how to apply the technique, his efficiency in the technique would be 0, because of course he don't know shit about the game. But as soon as someone with strength 10 knows and understands something about the technique, so let's say he knows how to apply it, his efficiency become 10. Let's say another case, someone whose technique is 10, but he's not very strong, so let's imagine the skinny guy, the jiu-jitsu. Well, in jiu-jitsu maybe you can use better leverage. Let's say in wrestling, if you have a skinny guy who is pretty good, pretty coordinated, but is not very strong, his efficiency would be 9. So the guy who is stronger will beat the guy who is more skillful but less stronger. And I know that might sound a little bit too much intellectual, less practical, but I will give you some clear examples about what I mean. Well, I was saying strength not only could allow a less skillful person to still make the technique effective even if he's not that coordinated. But improving strength in some cases could actually improve the technique quality. I will give you an example, some different examples. In judo, if you don't have strong pulling back, you will not be able to do a good kuzushi. Kuzushi, for people who don't know about the judo, is the act to put your opponent out of balance. If you're not able to pull strong enough, you will not be able to take your opponent out of balance. Okay, that's just logic. So improving your pulling strength by doing some rowing, by doing some pull-ups, chin-ups, will improve your ability to do an efficient kuzushi, and by consequence improving your technique efficiency, because you will improve with a better kuzushi, you will have a better leverage, stronger takedowns, etc., etc. In wrestling, if you have stronger legs, it will improve the efficiency and the ability to go in a double leg takedown. If you are able to push more strongly on the ground, you will be able to reach a deeper position down in your opponents, grab better their legs and putting them to the ground. Of course, and it's not surprising that pro wrestlers, not the one in WWE, but pro Olympic wrestlers and pro judo athletes do a lot of weightlifting, cleans, snatches, and they practice this physical type of training. And even in jiu-jitsu, if you are doing an armbar or jujigatame, if you are a Japanese nerd like me, if you are not able to pull the arm of your opponent back, especially if you're rolling with someone who is bigger and stronger than you will not be able to perform the technique. Being just strong enough so that your bicep will not burn and you will give up the submission, you will need a little degree of strength. And for someone who says, oh well, that doesn't apply to ground game, I will tell you a story. Once I was rolling in Nevada or in a ground game with a Georgian. If you have never rolled with a Georgian, it's a fun experience, guys. I was in top position, okay, and I was doing a kimura, okay, an udegarami, a kimura, okay. I was my arms kind of like that, and I was trying to put leverage into his arm. Okay, maybe my position wasn't as efficient. Okay, maybe I am not that good. It's also it also could be. Okay, and my opponent were heavier than me, but I swear, guys, he was resisting to my attempt just by flexing his arm. This Georgian dude was just flexing his arm, and I wasn't able to do the submission to him. That was absolutely humbling and crazy, and made me understand how much strength is important. And the question of whether strength or technique wins is in fact stupid. It's ridiculous. They are both essential factors to effectiveness in combat. Then, of course, if you don't know shit, if you don't know technique, of course you have to first learn, automize, become efficient in that technique. And if you're strong but you don't know what are the steps in order to arrive to the submission, of course your strength is useless. But if you are someone who is good at his technique, you've practiced it a lot, but you struggle to see effectiveness, maybe starting lifting weights, starting to improve your general physical strength will improve also your technique ability. And the effectiveness of your takedown and submission will benefit from practicing and from becoming generally really strong. So if you're strong but you fail, so your numbers in the gym are big but you fail to perform effectively techniques, it's more likely that you're not very efficient, you haven't a good automation of it, so you will need to practice and improve it more, doing more reps, improving the situation that you find difficult more often. If you are a technique nerd, so you will know where to place your hand, how to do it the most efficient way possible, and you still not see still not seeing any result. For some people that are very talented, very physically gifted, they don't need that much physical training in order to see results from their sports training. But for you that are watching this video, if you have problem with closing your takedowns or closing your submissions, improving your general strength will absolutely help you. And your effectiveness on the mat and on your sport in general will benefit from the balance, not from the balance, by improving your general strength and your technique. That's it. The video is over. If you watched till here, thank you very much, I appreciate it a lot. If you have a different experience, different opinion about what I said, please let me know in the comments, and see you next time. Aim upward and keep searching for strength.